What's up, squad? Welcome back to the channel. This week we are reviewing Windlands 2, a much needed change of pace after playing Contractors a few weeks ago.
Oh, I'm out of bullets. I don't know how to reload. This guy's coming for me.
This game looks super stylized and a lot of fun, so Ben and I decided it was time to harness our Spider-Man abilities and swing around this world.
What do you mean danger? What am I supposed to do? I just got little hooky hands.
Having these adventures in these beautiful worlds, as well as seeing beasts straight out of Pokemon, Ben and I really started to enjoy this game. But we soon started to realize that Windlands 2 was definitely not as relaxing as we thought. Stick around if you're a VR gamer looking for an escape from reality, because Windlands 2 may just be the game for you. So first, let's talk about the World of Windlands 2. This game takes place in a beautifully stylized world, but the only way to travel is by using these grappling hooks that are attached to your hands. These grappling hooks allow you to swing from tree to tree and feel like you're some jungle version of Spider-Man, which we then realize is really just Tarzan. Anywho, this game isn't just about grappling and swinging. There's actually a deep history to this game as well. You learn more about this evil demon who enslaved all mankind, and while ruling, released these terrible, gigantic war machines that terrified everybody.
The creature set its malevolent gaze upon the sacred mountains.
And as the story always goes, the world was at a brink of disaster when the power of just one human was able to stop this demon.
But I believe Aang can save the world.
The demon was trapped inside a portal and was thought never to be seen again. However, even though the demon has been gone, evil still lurks in this world. So you must remain vigilant, move fast, and pretty much like any other game out there, just try not to die. Your role in this game is to act as an apprentice hunter, journeying through this world with the help of your sage master hunter.
I need you to go ahead. There's a big one waiting to attack. Destroy it and retrieve the crystal.
This really nice old man who kind of reminds us of Uncle Iroh from Avatar. You explore different worlds, fight different enemies, and grapple through a series of different terrains, all of which ultimately lead to you fighting some giant creature, which when seen in VR is absolutely amazing. Also too, as somebody who admires good design, I'd like to say that Windlands 2 is really quite a beautiful game. The gameplay brings me back to memories of playing Spider-Man on PlayStation 2, where, at least for me, half of the fun was just swinging through the city. In Windlands 2, you get that same feeling, but you get to do it in this beautifully stylized world, as if you're combining Spider-Man with a low poly version of Zelda Breath of the Wild. The world is expansive, it's full of secrets to uncover, and at times just have me standing there looking out at the landscape in awe. Yes, there was plenty of moments where we'd fall off a cliff, desperately looking in every direction trying to find a target to grapple before falling to our deaths. But for the majority of the time, it seemed both Ben and I spent the time casually swinging around and chit-chatting, or shooting arrows at each other, or just being goofy. It was a good mix between this easygoing casual game style and action. Our favorite feature of the game so far is the feeling of flying through the air after grappling, and immediately afterwards pulling out your bow and launching arrows at some giant enemy, which, ironically enough, made this game feel super dynamic and fast-paced, as well as gave Ben and I the faintest feeling of being in Attack on Titans. But not only that, the level design was actually quite smart too. At first, the game eases you into grappling and swinging around by providing these big, lush grappling targets that are easy to hit. But as the game progresses, the targets not only get smaller, they actually also start to cause damage if you bump into them, which forces you to quickly hop from target to target. It prevents you from doing what we did and holding on until we can figure out our next move.
Oh, if you shoot your thing into the red boys, they shoot needles at you and hurt you really badly.
Additionally, a bittersweet surprise that Ben and I found was multiplayer co-op. Our first impression of multiplayer was that it would be some player versus player bow shooting arena. However, on the second day of playing, we realized that it was instead a multiplayer co-op of the campaign, which really didn't stop us from shooting bows at each other. But it made the gameplay exponentially more fun. The fact that we were now able to experience these worlds and fight bosses and watch both of us fall to our deaths made this game A, hilarious, but also B, extremely satisfying, and it's a definite must-do if you have other friends who own this game. Lastly, another great feature that we have to mention, and we can't stress enough, are the bosses that you have to fight. These battles require a lot of coordination, quick movement, and epic bow shots. Not to mention how large those bosses are too. At one point we ended up fighting a boss that looked just like Onyx out of Pokemon, and being there looking up at this monolithic beast was just incredible. However, as much as we were loving this game, we quickly ran into our first problem, motion sickness. Even as experienced VR users, we needed some time to adjust to the game's quick movements and all the things that were passing by our eyes. We would strongly suggest that if you're prone to motion sickness, that you take your time with this game, ease into it slowly. The next problem that we faced was actually trying to master the art of swinging around with our grappling hooks. It's one thing to grapple a tree and quickly start swinging, but it's a whole other thing to actually become a master of it. As two brothers who see ourselves as decently good at most video games, this learning curve took a lot of time and practice. There was a lot of moments where we would either end up colliding with trees or just getting trapped at really awkward angles that were hard to get out of.
Oh, I gotta get way up there?
However, with time and practice, we improved our grappling hook skills with a few strategies. The main one being that after you release after swinging, you have to flick your wrist in the direction that you want to propel yourself towards. This will make you much better at getting to your destination quicker and more accurately. In addition, as we said before, it's important to always be on the lookout for your next grappling spot. As you progress through the game, grappling spots become harder to hit, as well as start to have spikes that cause damage. So it took us playing the game about 2 to 3 times before we were able to sauce through the air like Batman and Gotham, or like a jumbled Spider-Man. Once you utilize these strategies, you should be a master of grappling in no time. And once again, we would highly recommend that you do this with your own squad. There was this one moment where Ben and I were assigned a task to collect these different orbs scattered throughout the world. And at the beginning, it was fun because we had just joined the game and we were excited. But the task ended up being 30 to 40 minutes of Ben and I individually swinging around on our own, at which point the magic of the game was starting to wear off and our legs were getting tired, and we just started to consider it was time to stop recording for the day. But that's where the hidden beauty of multiplayer co-op came into light. The cooperative aspect of the game allowed us to work together to conquer bosses twice as fast and complete tasks twice as fast, as well as made the game that much more enjoyable.
Dude, you're tall!
Dude, you're so small.
You're
You're a small little guy, huh?
So, as always, the question to be asked now is, what score will we give this game, and will we recommend it? As we all know, every game is different and should be held to different standards. With this game being a 3D action adventure / platformer, the 3 metrics that we're going to use to evaluate this game are the story, the mechanics, and the cost to fun ratio. To us, a good story makes you feel like you're not just playing a game, you're in the game. The narrative is so compelling and inviting that you can't help but feel as if you're truly one of the characters within this world. The cool thing about VR is that embodying a character inherently becomes more easy, but that doesn't mean that every game does that well. With all that being said, Windlands 2 does a decent job of this. I noticed that Ben and I skipped through most of the campaign's dialogue, but we'd be lying if we said that we didn't feel like true characters within this world. Next up is the mechanics of the game. Since VR is so new, there's not really too many established patterns on what developers should or should not be doing. They simply just have a cool idea, implement it into a game, and voila, the VR gaming industry now has a novel mechanic never seen before. It's quite cool and exciting, so we try to give as much love as we can to new mechanics that we've never seen before. Swinging around was a lot of fun, and it was smart for the developers to add that extra layer of the wrist flip on release. But the main mechanic that we want to highlight is the bow. The ability to hit the button inside the palm of the Quest controller and quickly switch between your grappling hooks and then into a bow was A, really intuitive, and B, extremely versatile. Lastly is the cost to fun ratio, which is pretty straightforward. Based on the money that you spent for the game, what amount of value and fun did you receive back? While Ben was hesitant at first to throw down $25 for this game, he admits he did have a fun time playing it. And I agree as well. $25 felt a bit steep at first, but after playing for about 3 weeks now, I can 100% agree that it was worth the $25 to watch Ben die over and over again. With all of that being said and all the numbers being tallied, the official squad score of this game is a 4.3. Congrats to the developers of Windlands 2 for making such a great game. We definitely enjoyed it.
Hey guys, thanks for watching that video. This was so much fun to make. Windlands 2 is just such a fun, interactive game. You feel like Spider-Man out there in the jungle, taking down big bad guys, you know, taking names. If you like this video, go and check out our channel. We'd love to have you. You know, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. You know, drop us a comment. And in your comment, if you want to leave a game that we can check out, totally do it. We love to look at those. And I guess we'll see you guys in the next video. And as always, squad up.
Squad up.